So, I think we are live.
Well, I hope so.
Have you had your push notification?
Yeah, my phone pinged a minute ago.
That could be anything with you.
I
mean, if it goes emotional, then it's the wife, and then
message.
if it's Worf, it's me, isn't it? I think.
Armando sent a video to the group chat.
Oh, okay. Do I need to do anything with it, or?
I haven't watched it. Nick, can you just have a view and see what it's about?
Which one's that, mate?
Armando sent a video to the group chat.
Oh, he was complaining about the fact that he's been working like 6 days straight or something.
Okay.
Yeah, he's a bit tired, bless him.
Yeah, I bet. Yeah. You join us at a crucial moment, 4 minutes before we go live, where Carlos is stuffing his face. That's not going to end badly on the intro, is it?
I've finished now.
No, okay, all right.
Only the finest quality meals.
I have to say that was
Is that
was
an M&S
not
special?
the best.
Oh, was it?
No, that was not very nice. That was Lidl's own beef and black bean sauce.
Say no more.
And it wasn't. Aldi ones are better.
Oh, there's a controversial statement for you.
Other ready meals are available.
Of course. Why would you buy a ready meal? But anyway,
Washing it down with a bottle of old
speckled hen. God, that brings back pub days. I used to have that on kegs, didn't I, at the Duke back in the day? Old speckled hen.
It's been about a while, isn't it?
Lovely stuff, but again, you can't drink too much of that.
Yeah. Indeed.
Met up with all my old uni mates on Saturday in Bath, and we had a bit of a day on the beer. So that was.
You recovered yet?
Yeah, it wasn't too bad. I was sort of tried to pace myself because I'm.
You didn't try hard enough.
You started on doubles, Nick.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Double pints.
No, those days are behind me. I think I'm not capable.
Yeah, I'm not capable, but I still try.
Very trying, dear.
Did you enjoy that massive downpour we had this afternoon, Matt?
I missed it completely.
Did you miss it?
Yeah, I've been in my own little bubble most of the day, thanks to work.
It came down so heavily. I thought it had gone foggy outside because you can actually see anything. Okay.
Right. Yeah, there we go. Right, you have 45 seconds to deal with any burping or anything that may be required.
Fill this up then.
Right, yes, fair enough.
I also noted as well whether you saw it today or not, Matt, that the fields are now starting to not be fields anymore between here and the A143.
That's the trouble now, is now that they're saturated, it's going to start causing problems if the rain continues, isn't it? Yeah. That's the trouble, isn't it? 15 seconds to clock.
And he's gone off to get another beer.
He's not silly. Yeah, but he ain't got to do anything for 2 minutes. You've got an intro to do yet.
Do I look blurred on YouTube, or is it just my YouTube?
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, clock.
Righty. Check us out being on time.
I know. Never be so proud.
Heaton's just come on here, and I am roasting.
Yeah.
Oh, I put mine on earlier. It was a trifle chilly when I got home.
Oh, here we go. Standby studio.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3.
Well, hello and welcome to episode 522 of the Plain Talking UK podcast. I'm Carlos, and in this week's packed show, we have investigations into 737 rudders, a roundup of London airports, Ryanair is having a big summer blowout, and we find out how Microsoft's millions are helping restore the AN225. In the military news this week, we have a story about a new Towbar for the B-52. A Virgin Atlantic are teaming up with a Royal Air Force Museum in London. And as usual, our perennial pusher of all buttons, just not necessarily in the right order, over in the PTUK Master Studio, it is, of course, Matt Smith.
Hello. Caught me unawares there. I thought you were still doing the intro.
Nick's intros get better every week, I tell you. Honestly.
I know he set a bit of a high bar, though. That's my only slight worry. I mean, it's like intros on TV shows, isn't it? You eventually reach a point where it's just like, I'm out of ideas. You know, we'll know we're in trouble when he starts going, and here's Matt.
Here's Matt. Exactly, yeah. How is one on this glorious Wednesday evening, Mr. Smith?
Moist, very moist.
What, sweaty, hot, moist? Or,
no,
it's
just moist outside. Everything's wet. Yeah. Honestly, it's been relentless. The last 3 days, it's just done nothing but rain. Yeah.
But let's be thankful that we're not getting it as bad as they are in the US.
Very true. Very true. Yes,
things are not great over there at the minute, and we have got an update from Armando a bit later on in the show that he's sent in for us. So look out for that.
Yeah, definitely.
But sadly, Mr. Bounds is once again AWOL, but we're happy to have an update from Armando, as I said, later on in the show. As we said, he is bringing us an update on the recovery efforts that are going on in North Carolina following the recent hurricane. But we are delighted, absolutely delighted this week to welcome him back from the sweatbox. His landings are more buttery than the bake-off tent during Cake Week. It's Captain Andy.
Blimey, that's not true at all. I've been sat in the back of the box. I haven't been flying the thing.
Have there been some interesting landings then as part of your... or are you not allowed to mention?
It's always an interesting day in the simulator.
Fair, yes, okay.
It's been fun. Yes, I haven't been around for a while. I've been everywhere. No. I've been to Italy, I've been to Switzerland, I've been to Gatwick.
Listen
not quite
to
as
him.
Exciting.
Anyone would have thought of Gatwick. Hey, not a fan of Crawley, dear.
Not the biggest fan. And I haven't flown anything in that time either.
No,
I've been passengered everywhere.
Wow. Okay. Do you use your... This is going to sound like a really daft question, I suppose, but is it mostly using your own airline, or do you have to use other carriers?
Oh, no, they sort it all out.
Okay.
Chauffeur driven, no doubt, I expect.
Oh, I should hope so.
Yeah. I was going to ask, Andy, you know all this sim trying and stuff that you've been doing in the last few weeks and that, when you're standing at the back of or sitting in your chair at the back of the sim, watching over these pilots training and stuff, and they're landing and do you sometimes sit there when they're doing the landings and go, ooh?
Oh, Carlos is frozen.
Or or are you very professional?
I'm very, very professional, Carlos. Come on, this is me.
Okay, that's a lukewarm yes. Then
I have visions of the beer glass in the back there whilst the sim truck. Right, carry on, guys.
Very much not, sir. Yeah.
I do enjoy my job. Would like to keep it, and I will not stand for those accusations, Mr. Stelling.
Okay, very fun. Okay,
yeah, you tell them. Yeah,
that's one of the things when I eventually get into the new studio and settle my sim equipment up permanently, rather than have to take it down every time.
Oh, no.
Is to I have actually
do a show while you're actually flying.
No. I've been asked a lot of times by a couple of people who, one of them watches the show and the other one is a very good friend of ours, is to fly or do some approaches after I've had a number of beers.
Oh dear, right, okay.
So I'm going to probably improve them.
Yeah, probably. Most likely, yes, absolutely.
Thanks, Andy. Oh, you're such a gem. Yeah. You are. You're such a gem.
What we'll have to do is we'll have to stream it, and then we'll need Andy to actually critique it. I think so. We'll have to stick you in a 320, and then you'll have to critique it.
Am I allowed to drink though while Carlos drinks?
Oh, very much so. I think just.
Oh, yeah, great. I mean,
and it'll be, we'll make sure it's like after 9 p.m, after the watershed and all that kind of thing, so it can be a no holds barred.
Oh, blimey!
Yeah.
You don't want the account banned from YouTube.
Well,
surely?
no, it's all right. We'll do it on Zoom. It's fine. We'll send out invites and it's.
Oh, fantastic!
We'll do it
That
that
sounds like a great setup. Get it in the diary. Let's
What
get it
could
done.
possibly go wrong?
Well, it wouldn't be the first time that we've done a stream on Twitch. Hey,
No, it wouldn't. No, to be fair, yeah, because that's
no.
Yeah, we could definitely do that. Lovely, excellent. Well, that's the Christmas episode sorted by the sound of it.
So, joining us as well tonight, we've got our resident producer of all notes and show notes and the intro to the show this week, which is always as interesting as it always is. Of course, is Mr. Codling. Hello, Nick.
Hi, Carlos. Yeah, I'm a bit gravelly this week. I think I might have a bit of lurgy. So, but what I need to know is, Andy, where's my Toblerone, mate?
Oh,
You've been to Switzerland. Come on, I've been waiting. I've been jolly patient here.
there are rules. Yeah.
That's a fair point, mate. I'll best ring the post office and find out.
Absolutely. It's a bit melty. Yes. Indeed.
We'll get
Oh,
that
dear.
sorted.
Yes, absolutely.
Now you've said that, I really could murder a nice Toblerone right now.
Oh yeah, it's got to be original Toblerone though for me. None of this white Toblerone rubbish.
That does sound quite a nice idea.
Indeed.
Anywho, it's time to look at who's joined us in the chat room this week. We're going to start at the top of the list. First off in there is our local listener, Mazoos. Hello to you, Mazoos. Good to see you. We need to catch up with Mazoos at some point soon, Matt, don't we? And go and have a drink.
And Paul, actually, our other local listener, we haven't spoken to Mr. Tricker for ages.
And Paul Trigger, yeah. Richard Adams, hello to you as well. Dirk S, hello Dirk, good to see you. We've got, hold on, let me scroll down. Hobby Time, hello Hobby Time, great to see you. Graham Haley, our resident ATC guy is in there, good to see you, Graham. Captain Cruz, looking forward to some cheerful nonsense. This is a serious aviation show, he says. I know we don't do nonsense on this show. Well, I don't think we do anyway. Darren Smith, hello to you. Evening from a chilly Oslo.
Oh, wow.
Wow. I bet it is chilly there. We've got Masha, the lovely Masha's in there as well. Hello, Masha. Great to see you. Christy G, hello to you as well. Good afternoon from a humid ATL.
Ooh.
Oh. John Falk, hello to you, John. Good to see you as well, sir, in the chat room. Nick Codling is also in there, keeping an eye on things as always. Good to see you in there, Nick, and on the chat as well. And hold on, I'm just reading what's saying on here. Toblerone is only real if you buy it from an airport duty free, Masha says. That's about the only time. Is there anywhere that sells that around here, Matt? I've
Yes,
never seen it in
Tesco's.
shops.
I bought many a Toblerone from Tesco's.
There was me thinking I'll go and have to book a flight somewhere to go and get some.
No.
Is it
that's
like the
just
old
an
Guinness thing, though?
experience.
Doesn't taste the same.
Doesn't taste as good,
the same if you
perhaps,
don't buy it.
Different
in
chocolate,
duty-free.
maybe. Yeah, you're probably right. I'm willing to take on the challenge. By the way, I will do that research for you.
Okay.
No, okay.
I'm going to do some research after we come off air tonight and go and try and find some chocolate somewhere.
Right. Okay. Good luck with that.
Fine being the
Like I say, good luck with that in your house. Gemma will have very much locked all of that away.
it is going to be virtually, well, it'll be hidden away or there
Very
won't be
much.
any.
No, quite, absolutely.
No. Right, so we are going to do the commercial news. We've got loads to get through this week, plus the caption
Are you
is
sure?
just for fun. Yes. I'm
Okay, jolly
positive.
good. You seem unsure by your endeavours.
No, we normally do the Patreon at the top of the month, but I haven't loaded that in this week, so we'll do that next week.
Okay,
We'll do that
right.
next week.
Okay, fair enough.
Can hopefully Nev will be back next week as well. But we've got loads of news this week, and we've got the caption is just for fun, which sparked quite some interest this week. If you've not seen it, it's over on Facebook. And we've also got our retro airline ad of the week, which this week is pretty damn interesting, I will say. For it's not like that this week. Trust me, it's very informative.
Right. Okay. All right.
Just saying.
Yes, I'm reserving
Anyway,
judgment.
Anyway, if all the team are ready, let's do some commercial news.
Indeed.
The captain has turned on the seatbelt light. Please take your seats and fasten your seatbelts.
And the first story this week comes from simpleflying.com. And I love the picture on this story because we can actually say that we've been up the top of this particular tower many times.
Yeah, absolutely.
The top airline at each of London's 6 airports by seat availability, this is. In the aviation industry, several metrics are used to analyse airline offerings, whether it be number of flights, number of seats, or seat miles. London has 6 major commercial airports, and according to data from Serum, a aviation analytics firm, get your words out, Carlos, there are more than 215 million seats available on flights to and from these airports. So London Heathrow, data shows that at Heathrow Airport alone, there are 105,065,431 seats throughout 2024. The airline with the largest offering is, Nev Air, or BA, the UK's flag carrier. More than 48 million seats are available from BA, which operates a vast network of both short and long-haul flights. The route with the largest seat offering is from Heathrow to Edinburgh Airport, with more than 740,000 seats in each direction, with nearly 8,500 flights throughout the year. This means BA operates nearly 23 daily flights between the two cities. And I know Nev is a very frequent user of that particular route. At number 2 is a route that's one of the busiest international routes in the world. British Airways has nearly 1.4 million seats, round trips available from Heathrow to John F. Kennedy Airport in New York. The airline's operations on the route surpass 5,600 flights in 2024, averaging out to around 15 flights per day. London Gatwick opened back in 1958 by Queen Elizabeth II, and its 60-plus year history, the airport has grown from 186,000 passengers annually to more than 40 million passengers. In 2019, the airport had 46.6 million passengers fly through, and in 2023, the airport still had not reached its pre-pandemic levels, but EasyJet remained its biggest carrier. Serum data showed that there are more than 51 million available seats to and from London Gatwick this year. EasyJet, one of the world's largest ultra-low-cost carriers, has more than 22 million seats available. This is nearly 3 times the number of British Airways offers at that airport. The airline's busiest route, both in number of seats and flights, is to Geneva Airport in Switzerland. Yay! According to the data, the airline has 386,494 seats available in each direction and 2,085 flights. The second busiest route is not far behind. Schiphol Airport is EasyJet's second busiest route, with nearly 700,000 seats. In total, there are 4,046 flights and 685,504 seats to Amsterdam. London City Airport, one of the most thrilling airports to fly into, for many people at least. Its name hints at its location in the middle of the city. Located right by the River Thames in East London, the airport offers great views on takeoff and approach. But because of its location and operational constraints, regional aircraft like the Embraer 195s are the largest to operate at London City Airport. Embraer has received certification for its second-generation E-Jets, the E2 family, for its aircraft to operate at London City, but no airline is doing so yet. Data shows that 4,895,641 seats are available from London City Airport this year on 10 airlines. British Airways has the largest offering by far, with more than 3 million seats. KLM, the second largest carrier, with just over 500,000 seats. And like with Heathrow, BA's busiest route out of London City is to Edinburgh. According to Serum, the airline has 453,860 seats available from London City to Edinburgh this year. The second busiest route being to Dublin Airport in Ireland, with 341,436 seats and more than 3,200 flights. Up next, London Stansted Airport that I know is very popular for people living in this area where me and Matt are here. London Stansted is a major airport for Ryanair, one of the more distant airports from central London, located around 40 miles northeast of the city centre. In 2023, the airport welcomed more than 29 million passengers, and this year there are nearly 34 million seats available from the airport. Serum data shows that 27 airlines operate flights at Stansted, with Ryanair as the busiest airline. And Ryanair operations are divided between Ryanair and Ryanair UK. But regardless, the airline is by far the largest Stansted. Ryanair has more than 24 million seats, and Ryanair UK 2.7 million seats. The busiest Ryanair route out of Stansted, not surprising here, is Dublin, with more than 1 million seats available. In second place is Rome Campino Airport, Rome's secondary airport used by ultra-low-cost carriers. In third place is the flight to Milan Bergamo Airport. So, yeah, Jenny will be happy over in Rome there. She can fly straight into Stansted from her airport. Next airport up, not everyone's favourite, this one. I can't say I get too excited about flying from here, but the flight prices are cheap. Like Stansted, the London Luton Airport is located outside the centre of London. The 86-year-old airport, trust me, it's showing its age, is the crucial for low-cost carriers, according to Serum. Nearly 20 million seats are available at Luton in 2024. The busiest airline at Luton is Wizz Air, if considering all three of these operations, Wizz Air UK and Wizz Air Malta. Together, the three have 8,799,549 seats available. The busiest route is to Bucharest, Henry Coanda International Airport, with nearly 600,000 seats available. Second place is the flight to Warsaw, Chopin Airport, with 531,780 seats on nearly 2,300 flights. Rounding off at the top of the three is the route to Tirana International Airport. Tirana? Where is that, Andy? Where's Tirana? Do you know where that is?
Romania, isn't it? Tirana?
Oh, okay. Didn't know that one. And the last one in the list is London Southend Airport, where I've flown from once before.
Sorry, I'll just correct myself. It's Albania.
Albania. Okay, Albania. London Southend Airport, the busiest, or is the least busiest of the 6 airports on the list. London Southend Airport is only served by 3 carriers, and the only one with a constant year-round service is EasyJet. Data shows there are 348,000 seats available at Southend this year, and 346,992 of those are on offer from EasyJet. EasyJet's busiest route from Southend, no surprise here, is to Palma de Mallorca in Spain, where the airline has 72,000 seats available throughout the year on 400 flights, with Amsterdam not being far behind with just over 71,000 seats. But Nick has made a note here at the bottom of the show notes saying, weirdly, no mention of London Norwich Airport.
Rude.
I mean, it's a push calling it London Southend, really, isn't it?
It is,
yeah, a little bit, yeah. I suppose the only saving grace is it is a not. I try to think what is it on? It's on the road. I used to use it all the time. I should really remember.
It's a nice airport to get to.
Because I used to go past it when I was as a cheeky little sort of A13 route into London. That used to be
it's on the A13.
Yeah. That was my cheeky little get into London, trying to avoid a lot of the traffic, if you see what I mean. I used to pick it up at, I think, was it the Billericay turning? I think you used to pick it up and then go around to the A13 and across that way. But of course, you go right past right past that airport there. But yeah, indeed. Interestingly enough, by the way, sorry, slightly off topic here. I noticed that Nick has turned into a Toblerone.
No comment.
Right, fair enough. Anyway, as you were.
Is it dropping hints?
It arrived in the post. There you go, you got it.
And as you can see, it's already been opened.
Quite right, absolutely. No messing. Yeah.
Just before we move on, Andy, getting back to aviation topics.
Yes.
Do you think they'll ever increase the movements at Southend? Have they got the capacity at Southend to do more?
Well, it's a very space-limited airport.
Oh, okay.
But it's also, is the demand there as well? You could probably put more aircraft in, but you're going to lose a lot of money.
Yeah, true.
I mean, EasyJet have already pulled out once and gone back again now.
Yeah.
It's a bit tricky, really. But I think there is room. Unfortunately, the runway is a bit restrictive. It's narrow and it's not massively long. So that restricts destinations as well.
Yeah.
Well, not massively long, and it's not far off the capabilities of the aircraft that fly in there, or is it?
Oh no, it's just it's weight restricted especially on the Neo aircraft. Not as bad, but on the CEO aircraft, I'm talking Airbus here. You have certain restrictions because there's only so much you can lift out on the runway.
Right. Okay.
So I'm guessing on a hot, humid British summer day, which obviously we don't get many of here, with a full flight with full fuel going down to Palma de Mallorca, you've got to be fairly on your own.
That'll be fine because that's not that far. But if you want to try and go, say you want to try and go to Sharm el Sheikh or something like that, that wouldn't be possible because you wouldn't be able to fill the tanks with fuel and lift a profitable load out of there as well. The runway is just too restrictive.
Wow. Okay.
Right, Andy, you've got the next one, and NTSB.
Yes, this is from the ntsb.gov. NTSB issues urgent safety recommendations on Boeing 737 rudder system. The National Transportation Safety Board on Thursday issued urgent safety recommendations to the Boeing Company and the Federal Aviation Administration in response to the potential for a jammed or restricted rudder control system on some 737 aircraft. The NTSB is investigating a February 6, 2024 incident in which the rudder pedals on the United Airlines Boeing 737-8, a MAX variant, were stuck in their neutral position during the landing rollout at Newark Airport. The captain used the nose wheel steering tiller to control the airplane's direction after touching down. There was no damage to the aircraft or injuries to the 155 passengers and 6 crew members. A preliminary report detailed the circumstances of the event, and this was published on March the 12th. NTSB investigators tested one of the rudder control components from the incident aircraft, a rollout guidance actuator, at the component manufacturer's head office, Collins Aerospace. When the incident actuator and an identical unit from another aircraft were tested in a cold environment, the actuator's function was significantly compromised. Now, this has happened in the past. Investigators found evidence of moisture in both actuators, which failed testing. Collins Aerospace subsequently determined that a sealed bearing was incorrectly assembled during production of the actuators, leaving the unsealed side more susceptible to moisture that can freeze and limit rudder system movement. Collins notified Boeing that more than 353 actuators that Collins had delivered to Boeing since February 2017 were affected by this condition. The rudder rollout guidance actuator, which is installed in the tail of some Boeing 737 NG and 737 MAX aircraft, is designed to control the rudder's movement during a Category 3B approach, landing and rollout. Although it is not used in non-precision landings, the actuator remains mechanically engaged with the rudder system. Boeing's 737 flight manual instructs pilots confronted with a jammed or restricted rudder to overpower the jammed or restricted system using maximum force, including a combined effort from both pilots. The NTSB expressed concerns that this amount of force applied during landing or rollout could result in a large input to the rudder pedals and a sudden large and undesired rudder deflection that could unintentionally cause loss of control or departure from a runway. The NTSB has recommended that Boeing determine appropriate flight crew responses beside applying maximum pedal force for situations in flight or during landing. The NTSB also recommended that Boeing notify flight crews operating the 737 with affected actuators that the rudder control system can jam due to moisture that has accumulated inside the actuators and frozen. Additionally, the NTSB recommended that the FAA determine if actuators were incorrectly assembled if actuators with incorrectly assembled bearings should be removed from aircraft, and if so, to direct US operators to do so until replacements are available. The NTSB also recommended that if the FAA determines the affected actuators should be removed, They notify aviation regulators in other countries that oversee operations of 737 aircraft and encourage them to require removal of the affected actuators until replacements are available. So there we go. The 737 has suffered an actuator problem in the past on the Classic. Many, many years ago. It was very different to this, though. I think the assembly, when it froze, caused the rudder to act in the opposite direction.
Okay.
Which caused many aircraft to roll over and crash into the ground. Because as a pilot, if you push the rudder and it keeps rolling, then you're going to keep pushing the rudder. You're not going to think, I need to switch this round. It was one guy who actually decided on approach, hang on, I'll push the other. They landed, and that's how they found it out. But quite concerning, really, because it does say it's only used for autoland, which is a Cat 3B approach, but it remains connected. Very good that captain thought this isn't working. Maybe he thought he had a nose wheel steering. Sorry, he must have thought he had a rudder issue because he used the nose wheel steering in the end to control the plane's direction. But it could cause an accident, this really. And once again, the 737 is having more mud slung at it here. It's time to just have a fresh design, start again. But
So
at
it's-
least they've found it.
So is this again? Forgive my naivety and stuff here. So this is an issue involving the ones that we've been having issues with, or is this the Classic that we're?
So what's deemed as the Classic is the 300, 400, 500, which I don't think many passenger operators use them. They're used a lot in cargo now. But this affects the NGs, the 600, 700 and 800, 900 and the 737 MAX. So there's still quite a lot of aircraft here. But it seems that it's specific. It's the rudder rollout guidance actuator. So when you do an autoland, as part of the autoland system, the autopilot controls directional control during the rollout. So once the nose wheels touch down and you're decelerating. So it seems to be specific to this part of the approach, and it doesn't get used in a normal landing. So there must be another actuator that actually operates the rudder for that part.
Right.
But at least, like I said, at least they found it, and they can do something about it.
Yeah.
And if they remove it, possibly it will just take away the autoland capability. So the aircraft can remain flying, just they won't be allowed to use the autoland function.
Right. Okay. Yeah. But as you say, maybe it is time to sort of chuck it in and come up with a new. You know, I guess the problem with that is that's a long way away, isn't it? I guess, and
it is, and they need to really start thinking about it now. The 320, and then, I'm not just saying this because I fly the thing. The 320 has far more scope for a much longer life. There's airlines now that are ordering it who've never had it before. It's going to be around for a very long time, and Boeing need to accept that now is the time to build a next-gen competitor to force Airbus to do the same, essentially. That's the only way we're going to get development going forward.
True.
You think that should be a narrow body, Andy, or a wide body?
Oh, narrow body. Narrow body's the future.
Okay.
I mean, we're flying 321 XLRs now across the Atlantic on a daily basis. That's where the money is to be made on those type of airframes now.
Indeed.
Now, next up, Matt, you've got one here that will upset Neb a bit in case his flight is delayed.
Yes, indeed. It's on travelgossip.co.uk, and the headline is BA forced to cancel long-haul flights due to a lack of spares. British Airways has cancelled a number of flights operated by its fleet of Boeing 787s over a 10-day period due to delays in the delivery of engines and parts. In a letter sent to employees, BA said the issue was in relation to Rolls-Royce Trent 1000 engines fitted to the 787s. It wrote, We've apologised to customers and thankfully are able to offer the vast majority a flight the same day, either travelling with us or with one of our partner airlines. We're sorry for the impact that this is also having on you. We continue to work closely with Rolls-Royce to ensure the company is aware of the impact its issues are having on our schedule and customers and seek reassurance of a prompt and reliable solution. Rolls-Royce says supply chain constraints were affecting the whole aerospace industry. BA did not say how many flights have been cancelled, but today from Heathrow alone, it has grounded flights to Chicago and Washington, along with at least 8 UK and European flights. In the same letter to staff, which has been seen by the independent, BA said 42% of its flights had been disrupted this year due to air traffic control, up from 24% in 2019. That equates to 75% more BA flights disrupted due to air traffic control restrictions than before COVID. It said it also added that we're working with air traffic control provider NATS to learn lessons from our recent experiences so that together we can build additional resilience for our customers and you, our colleagues. Now, as Nick's quite rightly put in the notes here, there's no actual word on what the spares issues are, or indeed what the ATC delays are. 42% does seem like a lot. But does that include route holding for major hubs? Could well do. Now, if my memory serves, didn't we have an awful lot of Trent 1000 engines that were all grounded for a really significant period of time?
Yes. The supply chain constraints here go back to COVID. A lot of lines of factories shut down during COVID.
Right.
There's been a huge backlog. It's not just engine parts, it's any spare parts are really, really difficult to get hold of. In the past, a lot of airframes would just be chopped up and used, but a lot of the airframes that were parked up have now been reactivated on the popular
put back in service,
fleets. Yeah. So these spare parts don't exist. And every airline is suffering from the same problem of not being able to get bits. And because spare parts are so heavily regulated, which they should be.
Yes.
Every part has to have its own serial number. It has to be logged. And as we've seen in stories in the past, there's been spare parts that aren't legit getting into the system.
Yeah.
It's a really laborious and long process to get another parts manufacturer certified by EASA, FAA, all of the authorities to actually provide bits as well. So it's a very niche market and one that's very constricted at the moment. On the part of ATC delays, the big problem we've had, again, since coming back from COVID is there's not enough air traffic controllers. And if there aren't enough air traffic controllers in certain sectors in the air or even in the tower in places such as Gatwick has huge problems with this, they have to restrict the amount of movements that are allowed on the airfield. And airlines obviously don't plan for that. They plan for absolute maximum occupancy to get as much flying done as possible to make as much money as possible. And the second somebody rings in sick and there's nobody to replace them, that starts delaying everything because the flow rate, as it's called, the amount of aircraft that can land or take off, has to be reduced for safety purposes because there's not enough air traffic controllers to provide the service to get them airborne and get them safe. So that's where a lot of these delays come from. There's also a pinch point as well, especially for BA, going long haul. Can't fly through Russia anymore. We've got the issues now down through Israel, Lebanon, Iran. And the only bit of airspace that you can fly through, everybody wants to go through it, like the Middle East carriers. So you immediately start getting delays there as well because, okay, we can only allow X amount of aircraft through an hour, so you guys are going to have to wait. And again, that you can't plan for wars and conflicts happening like that. You just have to try and, well, essentially hope for the best. And then it causes these delays. So it can mount up on both sides, on the ground and in the air.
Just looking at a comment in the chat room from Logan Lynch. Hello, Logan. Good to see you in the chat room. Says Southwest Airlines apparently is putting a bunch of 737-8 or 800s and MAX 8s on the market soon. If anyone saw that, I hadn't seen that.
I wonder why that is. wonder why they're getting rid of them.
Short of cash? Potentially.
Or surplus to requirement.
Yeah. So if BA do need any spare parts, I do have a RB 211 Stage 1 fan blade just above me here.
Okay.
I'm willing to donate.
Right.
And which airframes do BA currently fly that require a 211 fan blade?
I think the triple didn't the 777s have the
GE90s.
Oh, G90s. Oh yeah, because they got rid of the 76s, didn't they?
Oh yeah, a long time ago now. Yeah.
Yeah, and obviously the 74s are all gone now. So well.
Good
I
try.
tried.
Keep trying.
I tried.
Keep trying.
I did try. Anyway, feel free to send me some bits of aircraft BA if you're listening. I'm quite happy to.
I think they're looking for them, mate. They don't want to send them to you.
Other way round, mate. I think.
Old bits. On my old bits, I'm after old bits. And remember, I've got a new room to fill up now with
right. Yes.
pieces of aircraft.
Can we put the studio? Can we do the studio build first before you start filling up with plane parts? Can we get that working first and then fill it?
We'll get the beer fridge in first, Matt.
Yeah,
don't worry.
Beer fridge in first, then the PT UK second studio, and then and only then can we start putting in your flight sim stuff.
You sound like my wife.
No, I'm just being practical. That's all. And then get your flight sim stuff in so that it doesn't interfere with you doing the studio, and then you can fill the wall with plane parts.
Excellent. Yes. Sounds like a plan.
Lovely. Good. Happy days.
Just as well Gemma's not here at the moment, even she's gone out. So
right.
I'd just like to say you two make a lovely couple.
We do, absolutely. Yeah.
A lot of people have said
weirdly, he and I argue far more than him and Gemma do. That's just like absolutely, which is probably right. To be fair, it's probably right.
That has been mentioned more times than that has actually. Yeah.
And let's not be clear here.
To the Twitch live stream now.
Lovely, yes, I can imagine. And let's be clear here, by the way. I am not averse to using my great relationship with Gemma in order to ensure that Carlos does what he's asked.
Won't be the first time.
No, absolutely, definitely won't be the last.
Anyway, moving swiftly on. The next story comes
Everything I do is planned.
I know. I wouldn't surprise me at all. I'm just thinking about our wedding day. That was all.
Yes, I was very shouty and bossy. Yes,
very
absolutely.
shouty. Yeah. The edition.cnn.com. If there's one day I'd love to relive in my life, that'd be our wedding,
mate. It was absolutely wonderful. And Ersham Church, and it was just a wonderful day.
13 years ago, I'll have you know.
Oh wow!
I know.
That's frightening. That's frightening. So let's get that clear, shall we? Gemma has put up with you now for more than 13 years.
I know. Yeah, but look, I didn't used to be grey.
And that's the wife's fault, is it?
Well, that's what I say.
Wow. Anyway, before we add yet more petrol onto the bike,
moving on. Although, can I just say, I am in good books right now.
Oh, have you been buying diamonds at last?
No. Well, it goes like this. Gemma is off to Prague on Sunday.
Do you know what? I've never heard him backpedal so fast.
No.
Should we just go and do an aviation podcast, Nick?
Listen. No, this is aviation related. So Gemma's off to Prague on Sunday from London Norwich Airport with KLM. This is for work. This is for work or for university stuff. Not. But she's off to Prague, and I made a little inquiry with the KLM's PR team this afternoon, and managed to arrange a slight change to Gemma's travel arrangements in regards to seating.
Right. Okay.
Which was very nice of them, I will say. They were very nice to speak to.
Okay.
And they also, don't tell her, she's not here at the minute, they're also going to sort a little bottle of bubbly out on the flight for her when she goes. Yes. Thank you, KLM, if you're listening. Thank you, KLM. Very good. Yes.
Wow.
Anyway,
okay.
moving on with the story. Edition.cnn.com, this one. 2 passengers taken to hospital with injuries on United flight after pilots respond to collision warning. Federal Aviation Administration has opened an investigation into the jolt on a United Airlines flight that injured 2 passengers when the pilots responded to an onboard mid-air collision system warning, or as we all know, a TCAS warning. United Airlines says Flight 2428 from Newark, New Jersey was descending into San Francisco International Airport last Thursday, but it slowed its descent to account for another aircraft at a lower altitude. Both injured passengers were taken to the hospital, and United said in a statement. The FAA incident report says 1 passenger received serious injuries and another one minor injuries last Thursday when the pilots responded to a Traffic Collision Avoidance System Resolution Advisory, or TCAS-RA. The collision resolution advisories are treated as extreme warnings of possible collisions with other aircraft, and pilots are required to act immediately. Data from Flight Radar 24 showed the incident took place at 31,000 feet as the flight was near Lake Berrycia, around 70 miles north of San Francisco. FR24 says a Southwest Airlines flight was 3,000 feet below the United flight, and a SkyWest flight was 1,000 feet below that. In a statement, the FAA, which is responsible for controlling aircraft, said there was no loss of safe separation. Audio from Live ATC captured the pilots declaring a medical emergency, telling air traffic controllers in Oakland that someone may have broken an ankle and there's passengers that got hurt when we had an RA, United Airlines told CNN. The seatbelt sign was on at the time of the incident, and one of the injured passengers was out of their seat. The National Transportation Safety Board has not yet launched an investigation, but a spokesperson told CNN the agency is gathering preliminary information. Thursday's in-flight incident is the latest involving passengers and near collisions this month. On September the 12th, an Alaska Airlines flight had to abort its takeoff in Nashville due to a Southwest flight crossing the same runway. 2 days prior, the wingtip of a Delta Airlines A350, as we know, we covered this last week, hit a smaller regional jet while both planes were taxiing, causing the regional jet's tail to fall off. Was it last week we covered that one? It was, wasn't it? A week before? Nick? It was last week, I think.
Week before, I think.
Week before. So, for the benefit of everyone out there, Andy, TCAS, have you had one before? Have you had to respond to a TCAS before yourself?
Plenty of times. You get a traffic advisory, then I've had a few resolution advisories as well. It's normally based on closure rate. The 2 transponders talk to each other, and if they're not happy, they'll talk to each other again and tell one to climb, one to descend to make sure that they maintain separation. I will add, I'm not going to comment on what these guys did, but an RA manoeuvre should not be a violent one. It should just be a gradual manoeuvre to either get you descending or climbing. So I'm guessing a bit of startle factor here, where they've suddenly, out of nowhere, sometimes you don't get the traffic warning, it just goes immediately into a climb now, or descend, or maintain level flight, depending on the standard of TCAS system that's fitted. So they might have been really startled. It also doesn't say the type of aircraft as well in this article, and just violently pulled or pushed at the controls, which will have immediately caused either positive or negative G, which is why these poor passengers have been injured. But yeah, every time I've had it, you can see it coming. You can see the traffic on the display, and once initially it'll go to an amber circle, and then it will go to a red square, I think it is. I'd have to check that one once you get the resolution advisory. And just do as it tells you to do. Just follow it, and it works.
So, on that subject of those TCAS warnings and stuff, is that something you train for in the sim, Andy?
Oh,
yes.
yes.
Something, yeah.
Yep, it's a regulatory item that we have to do every 3 years minimum. It's normally in the simulator more times than that. It's quite a nice one to throw into a scenario. But yes, it is a maneuver that we have to do training on.
And I'm right in saying this isn't just something that happens on the approach and departure from airports, this is something that could happen at the flight levels when you're at cruise?
Yeah, well, below certain altitudes, depending on the aircraft, it's actually inhibited as well, below around 1,000 feet and on takeoff, because, of course, you're getting close to the ground, there's other aircraft around. But it normally happens at altitude where somebody is descending and somebody else is climbing towards each other. Now, they're probably going to level off 1,000 feet apart, but the systems don't know that when they're talking to each other, so they just look at it, calculate the closure rate and where it's going to be in X amount of seconds, and then go, don't like this, right, you climb, I'll descend, and that's how the system works. It's very, very good. And you always, no matter what air traffic control tell you, you follow TCAS, because it's caused accidents in the past where they've followed ATC over the TCAS system and the two aircraft have collided. All you tell air traffic control is TCAS RA, and they will just leave you to it until you call them back.
So on the 320, is that an audible and a visual when that alarm goes off, or is it just an audible alarm?
Yep. So on the nav display, you'll see the aircraft around you as little diamonds, white diamonds, and then it'll turn amber if it's a traffic advisory with a traffic oral warning, and then it'll go red and give you climb or descend. And also on the VSI, it actually shows you which section to put the needle into. So part of it will be red, part of it will be green. You just adjust your attitude to maintain your vertical speed, either down or up, in the green section, and that will guarantee to keep you safe. And also, on newer models, the autopilot is perfectly capable of flying it.
Oh.
When the TCAS system activates, you'll see TCAS come up on the flight mode enunciators, and it will fly it. And it does a good job. But we still have to know, if that system fails, how to fly the maneuver.
Yeah. But if the autopilot needs to do that resolution, it will do it.
It'll do it, and it'll do it lovely. And because it's a fly-by-wire aircraft on the Airbus, I'm getting geeky now, it'll do it at a constant load factor as well, of a max of 2.5 G.
Oh, okay. So it's not just going to go
No.
and throw the beers up in the air. Yeah.
No, it does a nice job of it.
Yeah. Here we go. Learn something new every day on the show. Thank you, Andy. And sticking with you, Andy, with the next story. Reclining chairs.
Yes,
and
this one is from the BBC. And last week, we had a discussion. I wasn't here, but I heard it about seat reclining etiquette. When to recline and how to share armrests. Rules for avoiding a mid-flight row. A lot of us have been there, locked in a metal cylinder flying at more than 500 miles per hour, gritting our teeth about the armrest the person to the left is hogging, or the person next to the window who keeps getting up to go to the toilet, or the person in front who has suddenly put their seat back, squashing your knees. With roughly half of the UK's households flying once a year, how people behave on aircraft is an ongoing bugbear. And last week, a Hong Kong couple were banned by Cathay Pacific after tensions flared over a reclined seat. So how can we avoid getting in our fellow travellers' bad books? To recline or not? Someone putting their seat back on a long-haul flight can be frustrating, but it seems to trigger Britons and Americans to different degrees. A 2023 survey by Skyscanner into the issue indicated that 40% of people in the UK find it annoying. But a YouGov survey earlier this year suggested that only a quarter of Americans view it as unacceptable. Whatever the percentage, reclining seats really are a problem, according to Shemaine Davies, a former flight attendant. She says cabin crews sometimes have to step in to stop anger boiling over between passengers. The basic problem is how airlines cram seats onto aircraft, with passengers having less space than they did in the past, according to Professor Jim Salzman of University of California, LA. The airlines are able to pass on the anger and frustration of cramped seats to passengers who blame each other for bad behaviour instead of the airlines who created the problem in the first place. William Hanson, an etiquette coach and author, I think we could all learn something from William, says it's a matter of choosing your time to recline your seat, which you shouldn't do during a meal. Check whether the person behind is leaning on the table or using a laptop and recline slowly. If in doubt, just talk to your fellow passenger, he says. Don't expect them to be a mind reader. Another gripe linked to the amount of space people have on aircraft is double armrest hogging. Mary, a flight attendant for a major US airline, says she is often given a middle seat between two guys with both their arms on armrests when she's being transferred for work and doesn't have a choice of seat. Nearly a third of UK airline passengers found this annoying in 2023, the Skyscanner survey suggested. Mary has had a tussle with elbows, she says, but has a strategy for reclaiming the space. I wait until they reach for a drink and take the armrest. One guy kept trying to push my arm and I just had to give him a look. We're not doing that today. To resolve any tension, Mr. Hansen says people should get used to the idea of having elbow rests rather than armrests and sharing them. Oh, toilet etiquette now. Many of us will be familiar with the dilemma of being in a window seat and needing to go to the toilet, but the person next to you has fallen asleep. Do you nudge them to wake them up or climb over them? More than half of Americans responding to the YouGov survey said climbing over someone to go to the toilet was unacceptable. Mr. Hansen says he normally has an aisle seat, and before going to sleep he tells the passenger next to him it's fine to wake him up or hop over if they need to. If sitting in the middle or window seat, you should just gently let the passenger in the aisle seat know you need to get past them. But be aware, you might not speak the same language, he advises. If a passenger has been drinking alcohol, it can make them need to go to the toilet more often too. Zoe, a former flight attendant with Virgin Atlantic, was on a flight to Ibiza on a different carrier where many of the passengers had been drinking in the airport bar beforehand, she says. As soon as the flight took off and the seatbelt light went off, everybody stood up and started queuing for the toilet. Some got quite aggressive, she says, leading to the cabin crew turning the seatbelt signs back on, forcing everybody to sit down. Unfortunately, one passenger really couldn't wait, so had to have a wee in a carrier bag.
Oh, my.
He put some swimming shorts in there first to soak it up, says Zoe. Wow. How about standing up? About a third of Brits find people standing up as soon as the plane lands annoying. I do as well. Just stay in your seat, says former flight attendant Miss Davies. There's no point jumping up because you're not going anywhere. It normally takes the ground crew several minutes to either hook up the passenger boarding bridge or put boarding stairs in place. Even after that, if you have checked baggage, you're going to need to wait to get it from the carousel, she says, no matter how quickly you get off the aircraft. Mr. Hansen says that in etiquette terms, there's nothing wrong with wanting to get up to stretch your legs, and perhaps people just want to get off because they're unconsciously a bit scared of being on an aircraft. But he added that it's faintly comical when people all get up at once and then stand there like lemons. So how can we get along? Other air passenger pet hates include people jumping queues, using phones or other devices without headphones. That one really annoys me. Draping long hair over the back of seats and taking shoes or socks off on an aircraft. Disgusting. If you become aware that flight attendants are using spray to spritz the aircraft near you, you may want to put some socks on or some deodorant, Mary says, as cabin crew won't say anything directly. But with air travel continuing to grow, how can we get along with other passengers on the plane? The key is for everybody to be considerate, Mr. Hansen says. If you don't want to temper your behaviour to get along with others, then there's something wrong with you, to be blunt. Well, I've got a solution to this.
Oh,
business class.
Right.
There we go. That fixes everything.
I knew you'd say that.
Well, quite. Yes, indeed. Indeed.
It did make me laugh reading this article because it just kind of occurred to me that actually we all just need to remember this is public transport, and if you don't like other humans, then you have to pay more. It's as simple as that.
It is. It is as simple as that. Also, can I say, if you've never listened to the Sexted My Boss podcast that he does with Jordan North, that's William Hanson, you absolutely need to listen to it. It is funny as.
Just treat an aircraft like you would treat a train or a bus. It's exactly the same thing.
Yeah, I used to drive those, though.
Yes, and don't take your shoes and socks off.
No, quite.
Yeah,
absolutely.
exactly.
There's a very, very short list of people I want to be in contact with whose feet are exposed.
Wow. I'm impressed there is a list at all, Nick.
It's a very short list.
Will you tell us that list after the show?
Yeah. Quite. Anyway, we'd better move on, I think, Carlos, yeah?
Matt, yes, you've got the next one. And Ryanair having some issues.
Indeed, Euronews.com is the source on this one. And the headline is Travel Chaos at Milan, but is it Bergamo?
Andy?
Bergamo.
Bergamo, right? Milan Bergamo Airport. Let's go with that. Why not? After Ryanair plane tyres explode on landing. Wow. Milan Bergamo Airport, also known as Orio al Serio, Cerro, sorry, my apologies, and serving the Italian city of Bergamo, endured a day of chaos on Tuesday following an incident following a Ryanair flight arriving from Barcelona El Prat. The plane was landing at 7:55 a.m. local time when the 4 tyres of the rear undercarriage burst, leaving it stuck on the runway. The incident, however, did not affect the landing manoeuvre or cause any particular problems on board. Airport authorities said, however, that it did damage the runway, forcing urgent repair works. A statement issued later during the day said operations at the airport were expected to resume at 6 p.m. local time. The airport's website showed all flights until midnight on the 1st of October, Tuesday, as either delayed, cancelled or diverted. Some departing flights appeared to be delayed until the 2 p.m. local time, implying the airport was hoping to be operational by this time. The city in question and a province is it's a 1 hour drive northeast of Milan. The nearest airports to said airport of Verona, a 1 hour 10-minute drive away, and Milan Malpensa, a 1 hour drive away. Airlines are required by law to transport passengers to their final destination, but it is not yet clear how they are making sure passengers get to their final destination. What happened with the Ryanair flight? Sacbo said that Ryanair flight arrived from Barcelona El Prat at 7:55 local time. Firefighters arrived shortly after and evacuated all 161 passengers and crew. No one was injured. The tyre blowout caused 450 metres of damage to the runway. The reparation works were aiming to fix the pavement, which was nicked to a depth of about 1 centimetre. There's apparently a picture of the aircraft in the story here, which would be this one here. There we go.
No, that's definitely not the aircraft. That's been retired for around 20 years.
Okay, right, fair enough. Right, okay.
Yeah, special mention to Euronews.com for picking a photo of a Ryanair 737-200.
Lovely. Okay.
Well done, guys.
Yes, absolutely. Just as well Nev's not here. Hey, he'd be furious.
That was the proper original 737 when they were still active. Yeah,
got the old cigars under the wings there.
The old cigars under the wings. Yeah, yeah. The old Pratt & Whitney JT8Ds. Absolutely.
So Andy,
yes.
Big old summer blowout at Bergamo there. What could be causing all 4 tyres to go like that?
The only thing I can think of is landing with a parking brake on.
Oh, that's a good one. Okay.
Because there's nothing that would cause all 4 tyres to deflate.
Okay.
And do that unless you landed with a brake on.
So presumably there, by having locked wheels, you are effectively flat spotting those tyres until they simply wear through.
Yeah, and it will cause serious damage to the brake system, the landing gear system, because of the longitudinal, whichever way forces you'll immediately put on it as well, because the wheels are not spinning.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the only thing I can think of.
So there were some other photos on the web which showed, I think, at least one of the wheels had kind of worn halfway through.
Oh, yeah. They'll go through the tyres, they'll go through the hub, which is why this damage has been done to the runway. That'll be the hubs digging in.
Yeah.
But yeah, if one tyre failed, it might take out the other tyre on the same wheel set, but it wouldn't do anything to the other side of the aircraft. Which makes me think they must have run the brakes on.
Yes, that makes sense now.
Yeah.
Or a brake failure or something like that is the reason why it would.
Again, to burst all 4 tyres.
Yeah.
So that's on both left-hand side and right-hand side of the aircraft.
Wheels need to be locked for some reason on both sides.
And the only thing I can think of is the parking brake.
Okay.
Which on the 7.3, you actually do have to look down at the pedestal, but down to you if you're the left
Yeah.
seat.
It's a
down to your
strange one,
right-hand
isn't
side.
it? Because you wouldn't be taking off with the parking brake on.
No,
So-
unless they put it on in flight for some reason. They were discussing something about. I don't know what the warning system is on the 7.3 about the parking brake set. If I set that in flight on the Airbus, it will tell me, you've set the parking brake. Turn that off.
Excuse me, idiot. Yeah, that sort of
Do
thing.
you would you, as a matter of course, do a sort of tap the brakes just to kind of stop the wheels rotating before they go up?
No, but even if you did tap the brakes, to set the like a little round lever.
It's a very
lift
distinct operation, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. So maybe, but again, when you park, you stand on the brakes and then lift it up. So maybe there's a motor skill there where he just stood on the brakes. Many reasons why he could have done it, and then just lifted it and thought nothing of it.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, it
Interesting.
definitely sounds like a parking brake set.
Perhaps he's trying to do some drifting.
Right. Okay.
Expensive drifting.
Yes, I would imagine so.
In a
is
Ryanair 737-200, I believe, or 300, or whatever it was. Sure.
That was scrapped
the
in
reason.
2004.
Yeah, there's the reason. It's been parked for so long, it's all
Right.
seized up anyway.
Locked
that's why.
on, yeah, absolutely, yeah. Yes, yeah. It's been decommissioned for 20 years. That's why.
Right, so next up, this one is from the BBC.co.uk. And I saw this one a lot on the social media, so it actually popped up quite a bit. This is, I had to crawl to a plane's toilet. BBC's Frank Gardner. So on a flight from Warsaw back to London on Monday, he said, I had to crawl on the floor of the plane in order to reach the toilet. He said he'd been paralyzed ever since he was shot by Al-Qaeda gunmen back in Saudi Arabia 20 years ago. He said his experience on board the flight was both physically deeply uncomfortable and also, of course, quite degrading. He follows on with, I know the discomfort that I and other disabled passengers encounter is dwarfed by the horrors being experienced by people in conflict zones around the world and stories that I cover. So my own experience is a minor comparison from this incident. It was humiliating to have to shuffle along the floor of an aircraft in front of passengers in my suit. So Polish Airlines, or LOT, which flies in and out of Heathrow, said it was not its policy to have onboard aisle chairs. This is unacceptable for disabled passengers since these devices are smaller than a pram and can easily fold up to fit a cupboard or an overhead locker. British Airways and EasyJet and every other airline I've flown, he said, with recently, all have them on board as standard. This shouldn't be a difficult fix, in my opinion, he said. This policy is surely wrong and needs to be changed without delay. This is 2024, not 1970, he said. I find it extraordinary that an airline is allowed to fly in and out of a British airport with a policy that effectively says that if you can't walk, you can't go to the toilet on our aircraft. In a statement to the BBC, Polish Airlines lot said it was deeply sorry for the distressing experience and that it sincerely apologised for the inconvenience and discomfort caused by the lack of onboard wheelchair. It said that due to limited space on its short-haul flights, they don't have onboard wheelchairs, but that the airline understands the importance of accessibility and is actively testing solutions to equip the short-haul aircraft with onboard wheelchairs in the near future. He said, I'm afraid I don't accept this. He said he flew with the airline in May from Tallinn to London, and the same thing happened there. In fact, the ground staff were really quite uncompromising and dismissed the idea that the plane should have this facility. Polish cabin staff on Monday's flight, however, were fantastic, he said. They were embarrassed, apologetic, and helpful as they could be, and encouraged him to complain about this as they could see how wrong it was. The story does go on, but quite right at the bottom of the story, Nick makes the point, how is this happening in the modern world today? Very true. I mean, I don't know, with the airline you fly for, Andy, what provisions you have on board for disabled passengers, or whether it is an issue when you are flying an aircraft, like a short-haul aircraft that doesn't have the space to put a small size wheelchair.
I mean, these things are very small. My airline has one in the front cupboard. it's only designed to take people up and down the aisle, so it's very narrow, very little. And I believe it is an EASA requirement to have one as well. But I don't know how far Poland is involved with EASA. But definitely, if you think about it as well, it's not just for getting to the toilet and stuff. If people needed to get off relatively quickly, it's also very handy to have so that they can get them off.
Well, in an emergency, for example.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, in a true emergency, people can just carry you off if needs be, of course.
Yeah.
But also, again, for people's just dignity as well, these should be available. They're not. It's not an additional weight to the aircraft or anything. It takes up very little room.
And I'm
It should
sorry,
be available.
I don't buy that. Oh, like, you know, because of the space restraints on the aircraft. I'm sorry,
No.
I don't buy that at all. I think that's a load of poppycock. To be frank, it is just
Not only that,
utterly ridiculous.
What amazes me, why didn't anyone, if I was on that aircraft, I'd have bloody got up and helped him. 100% I'd have got up and helped him.
I don't
Without question.
I don't doubt for a moment, to be fair to the other passengers. I dare say he probably was offered help, but he is a journalist at the end of the day. It is a big story, and I do think that one of the greatest things he can do in this scenario is highlight, you know, the ridiculousness of the story. So there is probably a good chance that he may have been offered help, but because the appropriate equipment wasn't available, perhaps he opted to do that, if you see what I mean. Because, and quite rightly so, because it is utterly ridiculous that the provision isn't there. I mean, presumably he arrived using special assistance on the plane.
Yeah, he will have.
You know, so somebody will have, you know, somebody absolutely should have been following that up, you know. And I think that is a good point that it does say in the story there about, you know, I guess we're foolishly assuming that because an airline is flying into a UK airport, that therefore they must reach and adhere to certain standards. And clearly, as you say, if they're just outside the EASA rule set, clearly that's not the case. So, I mean, what's their maintenance like and things like, you know, what is the... I'm not saying that this airline has got an issue with their maintenance, but, you know, you assume a certain set of like, you know, rules and conditions, which would mean a certain level of standard regardless of it being maintenance or you know, customer care.
I don't know. It's very bizarre.
In defence of the airline, I will say that in the photograph accompanying the story, it does at least look as though the floor was very clean.
It was very clean, yes, I think that's fair.
Yes.
Which actually might not always be the case. And certainly, you know, I don't think any of us would want to be grubbing around in an airline toilet floor. I just think it's absolutely shocking. And yeah, very degrading, I think one of you guys said. Absolute disgrace for this airline.
A very clean floor, as you say.
Yes,
and a lovely shot of the trucks of a cart as well. That's just to the left-hand side of where his feet are. Very nice. Yeah, indeed.
Andy, you've got the next one, and this is interesting. If you're a flight sim or a Microsoft flight sim person,
Yes, this is from jetlinemarvel.net. Microsoft Flight Simulator raises $3 million to bring back the AN225.
I need a few more on that.
Ukrainian aircraft manufacturer Antonov Company has successfully completed all urgent restoration work on the iconic AN225, the world's largest aircraft, and plans to resume full restoration efforts once hostilities in the region cease. I mean, that's pretty impressive considering the thing was badly damaged. This monumental task has gained fresh momentum thanks to a significant fundraising initiative spearheaded by Microsoft, which has generated $3 million specifically for the restoration project, according to the reports. The funds were raised through the sale of an add-on for the rebooted Microsoft Flight Simulator, which features the AN225. In a generous move, Microsoft agreed to donate all proceeds from these sales to Antonov, with the stipulation that the money would be used exclusively for rebuilding the aircraft. Under the terms of the contract, Microsoft provided Antonov with 100% of the revenue generated in the first year of sales, allowing for a substantial injection of resources into the restoration fund. While the exact cost of building a new AN225 rebuild has yet to be determined, so I'm guessing they're going to use the parts that they've got in the hangar. It will largely depend on the availability of parts from existing aircraft. Antonov hopes to utilize components from the Russian Ruslan aircraft located in Canada and Germany, which may be confiscated for use in Ukraine's restoration efforts. Additionally, 3 AN-124 aircraft belonging to Volga-Dlepna Airlines are currently stranded in Leipzig in Germany and could potentially serve as valuable parts donors for the AN-225 project. As Antonov Airlines relocates operations until the conclusion of the conflict, the anticipation surrounding the return of the 225 grows. The combination of innovative fundraising through Microsoft Flight Simulator and the potential access to vital components could pave the way for the world's largest aircraft to take to the skies once more, restoring its legacy as a symbol of engineering marvel and national pride. Do you have any parts for this, Carlos?
No, I don't, unfortunately. I mean, I've got a window section from a 777, but I don't think that would work really well on a 225. I would love to think that this will be, you know, back in the air and not the too distant future, but I remember figures that were batted about when we covered a story like this before a few months back, where it's going to take more than $3 million to get this aircraft back put together or back together and running again.
Well, you've got to put it back together. You've got to be in a place where you can put it back together. So you've got to take all the parts there, because this conflict, who knows how long that's going to roll on. Mm. Then you've got to put it back together as per the original spec or with modifications. Then you've got to get it recertified by all of the authorities. So that involves a lot of test flying again, because it's essentially, imagine you've pranged your car and you're trying to straighten it out. You've got to do the same thing, really. And then they need to find a use for it as well. Mm. Yeah. But I've got my fingers crossed.
I've been on the internet, done some Googling. So I'm getting figures of between 500 million and $3 billion.
I reckon it'd be nearer the $3 billion.
Yes.
If I'm honest.
And then, is it worth it? Is it really worth it? I know it's an icon of the skies, but is it worth it?
Yeah, your return on investment starts getting a little bit tenuous.
Is this one of those scenarios there where actually the return on the investment is not of interest, though? You know, because it is such an iconic aircraft, as you say, and I'm, you know. I don't know, you know, if the airframe is worthy, is airworthy, etc., or can be made to, you know, is it not the right thing to do it regardless of cost?
I'm surprised someone's not stepped in yet and thrown a huge amount of cash at this.
Wow. But why, Carlos? What is the benefit to one person?
I don't know.
I mean, if you've invested huge amounts of money in it, they might take you for a little flight somewhere.
Well, I think if you are the person who does do that, and this will essentially be your aircraft, I suppose, at the end of the day, if you did do that, wouldn't it be you've got the only one? You've got the one only aircraft flying of that type in the world.
I mean, but that also brings challenges of its own, though, doesn't it?
Well, yeah.
In terms of spare part availability and...
Like, look at the Vulcan, how much money they threw at the Vulcan. They got it flying again, but then ultimately its time was up.
Yeah.
And maybe it's better just, in my opinion... I mean, I'm an enthusiast, like all of us, but I also work in the game. I know cost of things and stuff like that. Maybe it's better just to let it rest as the legend that it was. And if you want to build a big airframe again, make a next generation one.
Fair, yeah. Yeah. Build the next icon.
Yeah.
We're being a little bit too sensible here. I don't know if I like it.
Anyway,
we're applying logic to illogical situations here.
So next up on the show, we've got an update about the Hurricane Helene in North Carolina, and Armando's put a little video together for us for the show regarding the relief efforts with the hurricane. So sit back and enjoy this awesome little update from Armando.
Hey everybody. So first of all, thanks for giving me just a few minutes to kind of talk about this situation that's going on here in the eastern United States. As many of you know, Hurricane Helene came through the weekend of September 27th through 29th. It ended up hitting Florida as a Category 4 hurricane. So it's a pretty strong hurricane. It came up through Florida, Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina, into Tennessee, and kind of stalled out over the Appalachians there in Kentucky for a couple days. The amount of rain that fell in this hurricane was pretty significant. Lots of weathermen used catastrophic or once in a lifetime or 100-year flood type things. This really was something that was just really significant. I think it was a year's worth of rain that fell in just 24 hours, at least in the lower Shenandoah there in North Carolina and eastern Tennessee, western North Carolina, eastern Tennessee. There's some pretty famous and kind of notable towns that were really affected. Greenville, South Carolina, the Falls Park. There's a river that runs right through the downtown of Greenville. I've never seen anything like that, and I've been going there for 30 years. The amount of water going through the middle of downtown Asheville, really popular tourist destination, as well as the people that live there, were really affected. There's still parts, I'm recording this on Monday, September 30th, and there's still parts of Asheville that are underwater. So it's going to take a significant amount of time. There's other smaller towns, Banner Elk, North Carolina, Gatlinburg, Tennessee, that were really hit really hard. It's going to take them years to recover. Some towns, Chimney Rock, North Carolina, really popular, again, tourist destination right on the river, was completely wiped down, as in like the buildings are completely gone. So one difference between Florida and the Carolinas is people in Florida are very resilient. They're used to this. They're used to the preparing for hurricanes and pretty significant tropical storms and things like that. They're that's not to say that they're unaffected by any means, because there were some parts of Florida that were hit really hard, but they're generally more prepared. The government's more prepared. The people are more prepared than up in the Carolinas where I live. And that was kind of the situation. Even though there were evacuations that were put into place and a lot of people thought they were prepared, we weren't prepared for the kind of devastation that actually took place. Immediately from, to keep it to sort of aviation, the National Guard mobilized. I've seen lots of pictures of Chinooks and Black Hawks going out there from North Carolina National Guard, Tennessee National Guard, as well as some other partner agencies from other states that have responded. So the aviation part of this really kicked in fairly fast. Lots of people were stranded. I was looking at Facebook messages, cries for help, basically from people that were up in Airbnbs up in the mountains, and some of these towns, people consolidated around one house, where I saw 30 people stranded here, 100 people stranded here. The university up in Boone, North Carolina, lots of people were stranded there. These locations still don't have power. They don't have running water. They're running out of food. They're running out of medicines. So from the military aviation part, that kicked in pretty quick. The Asheville airport is, again, as of Monday, September 30th, it's open, but there's still no power, no ATC services, no fresh water. There's no fuel available. So from a general aviation standpoint, the largest and sort of most well-established organization is Operation Airdrop. Now, they've done this for a few years now. I think probably going on 10 years that they've organized efforts with a local general aviation community. So Operation Airdrop has started their operations at my home airport of Concord, North Carolina, just on the north side of Charlotte. That is a location where they're collecting supplies. Another organization that was kind of created the spur of the moment was the Hurricane Helene airlift group on Facebook. Now, these two operations are actually working together, Operation Airdrop and the Hurricane Helene airlift. They're operating mostly out of the Statesville, North Carolina airport. So those are collection points, Statesville, Hickory. Oh my gosh, there were some great videos. Lots of these people were stranded up in this area in a locations where they're not even accessible to vehicles, to cars, even military style vehicles can't get up there, and then certainly not general aviation aircraft because there's a limited amount of airports. Some of these airports were actually completely underwater. Shiflet Field, for example, was completely underwater. Hendersonville Airport was completely underwater. So those collection points at Hickory, Statesville, and Concord, North Carolina, I've seen on Facebook everything from Cessna 172s, Kit Foxes. Actually, some of these airfields are only accessible by kind of big tire aircraft, STOL aircraft. But Kit Foxes, 172s, I even saw PC-12s and Kodiak loaded up with all these supplies. All of these general aviation pilots are heading out to the collection points and then going out to the affected areas. Now, Operation Airdrop is a great organization to coordinate those supplies where they're going to go, right? Because you got to make sure that somebody's there on the other end to meet them. The helicopters, I'm going to put a link to this. I'm going to give the guys a link to put up there. One guy, Garrett, is kind of recording or documenting some of the relief efforts that he's accomplishing with his own helicopter, with his own fuel, through his camera mounted on his helmet. And it's amazing what people like him and everybody else that is out there doing. From a general aviation standpoint, again, some of these airports are a total loss. There's a picture here of Shiflet Airfield in Western North Carolina where the water was up to the hangar rafters, so well underwater. A lot of these airplanes are going to be total losses, if not all of them. Once you get water into the airplanes, it's a total loss for the avionics and everything. They're going to start rusting immediately and mold and all that stuff. Yeah, and I'm going to start doing this as soon as I get back home. I'm on a trip right now. We're going to take our skydive plane and start heading out, our 182, because it's perfect. There's no seats or anything in it, and I'll start flying some supplies out there myself and kind of do a report. All of this is not without risk, right? So the pilots are taking on their own risk now. As pilots, whether you're a professional pilot or a private pilot or even a student pilot, we're always talking about risk and risk management and taking unnecessary risk and acceptable risks. Everybody's doing this kind of on their own risk scale and personal tolerance scale, right? Like if you blow a tire out when you're landing in Asheville or Boone, North Carolina airport, because there's debris on the runway, you're stuck there, and now you're kind of part of the problem, right? So at least Operation Airdrop has kind of put out some general guidance for the pilots saying, hey, if you're going out there, you are doing so at your own risk. We appreciate what you're doing, but make sure that you have battery packs and water and your own essentially survival gear to stay a couple of days until somebody can get to you. So basically it's, don't be part of the problem as you go out there. Donations, there's a GoFundMe. I think we'll try to get a link here. Legal donations, right? Because we still have the FAA that we have to take into account the rules for Part 91 operations like this, where there's a fine line between being compensated and having a pro rata cost. I would hope that the FAA wouldn't start scrutinizing people for what they're doing, but there are GoFundMe pages out there that are helping to offset fuel costs, or at least some relocation costs, and this costs money, costs everybody money. I think most of us are willing to donate our time, our money, aircraft fuel, as long as the aircraft owners are willing to take on that risk. So this is just such an incredible event that I think people weren't expecting this level of devastation to happen. But what a great example of our community coming together. And I know more than a few pilots that have already committed their time and their aircraft to flying these relief supplies out to Western North Carolina, Eastern Tennessee. But what an incredible example of the community coming together, helping your fellow humans. And I'll try to keep updating. I'll see if I can record something, but that's not the priority, obviously. I'm going to send the guys links. Hopefully everybody can help just a little bit, whether it's the GoFundMes or at least just passing the word of something like this happening. So that's the field report for now. And again, thoughts and prayers are with everyone that is personally affected.
Now, I know that Armando has been really busy flying, as we were talking about earlier on there. This must be absolutely eating him alive that he's not, because he is trained to help, isn't he? You know, his whole being is all about wanting to help people, and this must be eating him up that he's been so busy that he's not been able to at home to sort of, you know, do what he does best. I bet that's really eating him up inside, bless him.
Yeah, it's terrible when you see, I think, was it a report I read this week that said that a year's worth of rain had fell?
Yeah,
it's
awful.
Incredible.
Well, there was a hurricane as well, wasn't there, tied on to the back of it all, and it's just awful situation, as you say. So as Armando quite rightly said, obviously our thoughts and prayers go out with everybody that's been affected with this. Here's to everything getting sorted, and as you say, there's lots of GoFundMe pages floating around and stuff if you do want to sort of try and help out and things. But it's tough times in the US right now.
Yes, best of luck to everyone, and hopefully they'll get their lives back to some sort of normality soon. Fingers crossed. Right, next up on the show, it's our retro airline ad of the week. So it's our chance to look back into the depths of aviation advert greatness. And this week, we're going to go back to 1973 and take a look at just how big Delta Airlines hangar is and what 140 acres of aviation goodness looks like in Atlanta. And keep an eye out for Mike.
It's 140 acres big. You could put 100 football fields in it, and it's worth about $50 million. It's Delta's jet maintenance base in Atlanta. And this is Delta Airlines' new jet hangar, the largest cantilevered hangar in the world, where they service Delta's wide-ride 747s and DC-10s. It takes over 4,000 highly skilled professional people to run the base smoothly and efficiently. People like Mike Campbell, mechanic. He has 2 FAA licenses. He's worked on Delta's big jets for over 6 years and knows his job inside and out. Mike is one of 3,600 Delta mechanics who keep Delta's fleet of 176 jets flying. One of the 26,000 Delta professionals who measure up to even the biggest challenge. Next trip, fly Delta, the airline run by professionals. Delta is ready when you are.
Wow.
So did the wings crash through the door afterwards?
They didn't really open those doors wide enough, did they?
Did you see when the wide shot of the hangar and you had that huge DC-10 with that tiny DC-9 right behind it? The size difference was unreal. It's so good.
Yeah, there we go.
I think Captain Cruz is having a bit of a moment in the chat room there, actually.
Oh, really? Oh, dear.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Hold on. Let me just bring that up with the old...
Okay.
There we go.
Delta 747, Convair 990, Douglas DC-9, and a Douglas DC-10. Lots of very, very in-love emojis there. Yes, that's... it is... it's... Yeah. What is it we're excited about by Mike? What is it that we like, dear Mike, for?
He holds 2 licenses.
He knows what he's doing. He's got 2 FAA licenses.
Right, okay.
And he's been there for 6 years.
But hasn't Armando got 22?
Oh no, this is mechanic. This is mechanic.
Oh, I see.
Licenses. It's slightly different, but
fair enough. Different world. Yeah.
But yeah, that was quite interesting to see that. That's a kind of a different advert this week.
Honestly, my take on it, bit stale.
Yeah.
Bit stale.
Bit stale.
It was a bit sort of like, hello, we're in a suit. Let's talk about aeroplanes.
Oh, come on. They have 140 acres. I mean, you know.
What, arable farming land? Like, I don't know. Are we like so...
Yeah, I think they were American acres. They didn't look very big to me.
No, they didn't. No.
And where are all the moustaches and bell bottoms?
Good point. Well made.
We expect all this. We expect some 70s nostalgia.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Right, up next, it's a short little interview from Duxford that me and Nev took a few weeks back at the Battle of Britain Memorial Air Show, where we got to meet up with good friend of the show, Graham Haley, one of our resident ATC people, who we had a great chat with and also spent all day with on the Saturday at Duxford. So this is my little chat here I had with Graham about his work in aviation and aviation photography. So I'm here with our loyal listener, Graham Haley. Graham, hello.
Hello. I'm not sure quite how loyal I am, but occasional listener.
So Graham, we normally, when we come to these events, we tend to catch up with you, don't we? We normally see you because you do get out to, well, most of the air shows you can do round.
Yeah, I try to get to most of the British air shows, certainly in the south and southeast, especially the good ones like this one. There's a lot going on here, which is always nice.
So Graham, you're our resident ATC controller, viewer of the show. How's life treating you?
Not too bad. It's been a fairly busy summer, a lot of night shifts, but it's been good. Army are doing a little bit more flying, which has been certainly better than the last couple of years. Apache's doing a fair bit and little bits and bobs moving about, so it's been good fun.
Excellent. And you were saying earlier that you're progressing on to doing some different kind of training to what you're normally used to.
Yes, slow progress, but I've been valid in the tower for 3.5 years now, I think, and just starting my training on radar, which is a bit different. Can't see anything out the window. There aren't even any windows in the room to get distracted by, so little dark grief cave, as the boss calls it.
It's safe to say your normal sort of day-to-day job, you've got quite a good view from where your office is.
Yeah, it's a lovely view from the tower. We sit in a nice little bowl looking out over Hampshire, just onto the Wiltshire border, so excellent view.
Brilliant. So we are here at Duxford for the Battle of Britain Air Show, and standing here next to this BAE 146. Now, this is a special 146 used by the royal family, and this is a bit different, isn't it, Graham, to what we're used to seeing with the 146 in regards to various bits and pieces poking out from the aircraft.
Yeah, it's a bit different to the RJ I quite often see flying out of Boscombe Down at work. They've still got a lot of the countermeasures and special pods on that no one will ever tell us what they do, and I'm surprised to see one that a museum was still with the engines in.
Yeah, it's good to see, and you're allowed to go on board this aircraft as well with a ticket from the guys here at Duxford Aviation Society. You can get to go on board and have a tour on board the aircraft, which is really nice. But have you ever had a chance to go on one of these before, Graham?
Don't think I have been on a 146 actually. I've been on VC-10 behind it at Bryce Norton many years ago in the cockpit.
To actually fly, or?
No, just in the cockpit on the ground, but it was as 60s as you'd expect. Everything was big, bulky, very heavy, and very old school steam gauges. Nothing new in it. It was quite an experience.
Excellent. Well, the weather's nice for today, Graham. We've certainly picked the best day to be here for the air show. But obviously, you are what I would class as someone who knows how to use a camera at air show. I mean, you've taken some good pictures. Are you looking forward to getting some good pictures of certain aircraft on the display circuit today?
I am. Duxford's always great for pictures with everything taking off and landing, especially on the grass strips. You get a nice little bit of dirt kicked up in the background occasionally, and you can get fairly close at the end of the display lines. So looking forward to a few things I haven't seen this year. Fury should be flying. As ever, 101 Spitfires. I think there's 14, but a decent variety of all different marks, which is always nice to see. Good to see quite how different they are with some of the small Mark 1s right through to late Mark 19s and stuff with Griffin engines in that sound better in my opinion, so it'd be good to see them.
You had a chance to go over to our local museum over at Norwich, Graham, in your travels?
Many years ago, me and Dad went there. We're probably talking at least 15 years ago. Went in the Vulcan there, up into the cockpit, which was good. I remember, was it 200th show was there, or was that the 100th?
That was the 100th show,
Was
yeah.
that the 100th?
Yeah.
I think that was when I started listening. I think I first saw you there. Yeah, excellent little museum. Everything parked outside, but you could get nice and close, have a proper look round, a bit like this, where you can get close enough to almost touch it, and really see some of the old fighters, old jet fighters are my little passion, so it's good to see them.
Excellent. Yep, so as I said, we are here next to the 146, and if you do get a chance to come to Duxford, it's well worth a visit on board. As I say, run by the Duxford Aviation Society, and you can actually tour on the VC-10, which is just next door. There's also a BAC 111 and I forget which, is that the Viscount?
I think it's a Viscount.
Yeah, the Viscount is next door, the Monarch Airlines Viscount. And there's also a Trilander, which is just down here on the left. One of my favourite piston aircraft with 3 engines. I kind of call it, Graham, the DC-10 of piston aircraft.
That would be fair, though not quite sure it's got the capability of a DC-10.
Well, it's been lovely to have you back with us again, Graham. Always nice to see you and catch up. And obviously we've got lots of stuff to do this afternoon in regards to watching all the aircraft flying here at Duxford. So all the best for your training, mostly. Mainly, you're gonna absolutely smash it. You'll be fantastic as always. But keep us updated, because we want to get. And obviously, at some point, we'll get a chance to hopefully come over and possibly see you over at your base and possibly get a tour around. You never know what you do.
You're always welcome. It's been great to see you in Nev, Carlos.
Thank you.
There we go.
Always good to see Graham, and he does attend quite a few of the shows that we go to. So it's always great to meet up with Graham.
I was gutted I couldn't make it this time. Actually, just it was just a little bit too soon after various treatments and things to sort of be traipsing, doing a 10-mile walk, basically. So,
we done a lot.
Yeah.
I think we done well over 14,000 steps that day. Between
I quite believe it. I quite believe it. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
But the weather was great. It was a really good day, a really good show. And I'm glad that we went on the Saturday, because the Sunday apparently was slightly damp.
Yeah, good shout by the sound of it. Good shout.
Yeah. Right, it's time to move on with some military news. So, Nev's favourite part of the show, he'll be gutted he missed this, but he'll be back next week. So, Matt, hit the button.
It won't start.
Okay.
Hang on. We'll try it. Oh, here we go. We're away.
We'll do a dance. We'll do a dance.
550 Angel 16. Heading 340. Okay. 100 St. Boogie.
If it won't start, get a bigger hammer.
That's what she said. This first one comes to us from afgsc.af.mil. My word, that's a large website. And big thanks to Sturman from the PTK chat room for sending this one in. Appreciate you helping to shape the military news part of the show. So thanks, Sturman. This is a bit of a strange one, because we normally associate, military aircraft with the power and the engines and the armaments on board. Not normally this particular item. So this is AFGSC test new B-52 Stratofortress Towbar prototype. Yes. Well, we all need one. The impetus behind the new prototype is the need for a new tow bar that is quicker and easier to support B-52 operations. The effort is about meeting the needs of the agile combat employment concept, having the ability to project bomber power, said Master Sergeant Justin Countryman, the Logistics Innovation Branch Superintendent. The tow bars are essential for moving the B-52s into position for maintenance air operations which require airlift when the jet operates out of remote locations. The current tow bar takes 2 days, really, to prepare for transport, and requires up to 7 pallet positions when loaded onto a C-17 Globemaster III. The current design isn't particularly agile, and that's creating a demand for tow bars that's difficult to meet, said the Countryman. Like the proverbial missing nail in the warhorse's shoe, the lack of a tow bar creates a cascade of problems that can negatively impact mission readiness when the B-52 operates in austere environments. The new tow bar prototype potentially remedies that concern. Disassembling and rebuilding takes less than 30 minutes and requires only 3 to 4 pallet positions on a transport jet. Its design, created in collaboration between Strikeworks Louisiana Tech University, Air Force Research Laboratory, and the University of Dayton Research Institute, utilizes flange-style connections. The flanges allow the tow bar to be disassembled into 3 pieces, saving transport space and time compared to the current tow bar's 2-piece sleeves design. Flanges are aligned using a series of jack stands and bolted together to assemble the prototype. Now the jack stands on the casters help airmen move the tow bar. Countryman said the project originated in 2021 when the 307th Bomb Wing requested a collapsible tow bar that could be easily transported to temporary duty assignments. AFGSC and Strikeworks teamed up with 3 Louisiana Tech senior engineering students, Sam Witzel, Owen Clyde, and Gabe Collier, to create a design for the request. The original design they gave was a hand-drawn copies from the late 1960s, said Witzel, which we came to Barksdale and looked at the current tow bar and started working from there. Clyde estimated the prototype design required 180 hours to create. The B-52 maintainers from the 307th Bomb Wing and the 2nd Bomb Wing tested the new prototype under real-world conditions during the week leading to the demonstration. They said, "We are basically trying to break this thing so we know where we can improve the final design," they said. "We want to know where the weak points are before it goes into production." Countryman says the plans are underway to test a prototype in any potential weather and terrain and might operate, and AFGSC will use data points from field testing to help improve the existing design. While the project timeline calls for testing to be completed before September 2025, Countryman said, "We want to get this in the warfighters' hands as quickly as possible." Well, it's a damn good idea if they can get this thing to work in a lot smaller guise as such. They can transport this thing. But I never realised just how blooming big the tow bar was for towing the B-52.
Well, it's a big old aircraft, isn't it?
Yeah. It's a big old tow bar as well.
Very difficult not to make some form of joke around flanges, but I'll move on from that.
Anyway, moving on. Next story, Andy. Nice little story, this one.
Yes.
From, all about... this is a bit weird because this concerns a commercial airline and the RAF.
Yes, this is from vintageaviationnews.com, and this is RAF Museum and Virgin Atlantic announce official airline partnership. The Royal Air Force Museum has officially announced a new partnership with Virgin Atlantic, naming the renowned airline as the museum's official airline partner. This collaboration marks a significant step in the museum's efforts to preserve and celebrate aviation history while fostering transatlantic connections. The partnership emphasises a shared commitment to inspire the public with the RAF's remarkable story and support aviation heritage. Virgin Atlantic will now provide transatlantic flights for museum representatives between the UK and the USA, allowing them to attend events hosted by the RAF Museum American Foundation. These events play a key role in advancing the museum's fundraising efforts in the United States. Edward Sharman, head of development at the RAF Museum, expressed his excitement about the partnership. "We are thrilled to welcome Virgin Atlantic as our first official airline partner. They join us in our mission to inspire everyone with the RAF story, the people who shaped it, and its place in our lives. Their strong connection between the UK and the USA will significantly enhance our engagement with supporters in the United States. As a registered charity, this additional support for the museum will help ensure the continued care of our exhibitions and collections. With a shared passion and dedication to aviation, I'm very excited about the benefits this partnership will bring as the museum continues to grow and honour the legacy of the RAF." Virgin Atlantic, which celebrates its 40th anniversary in June, formalised the partnership during a visit to the RAF Museum's London site. The airline's corporate team toured the museum, explored its facilities and learned more about the exhibits with the help of museum volunteers. As part of the new partnership, Virgin Atlantic employees will enjoy special benefits, including behind-the-scenes experiences, access to public events, venue hire discounts, and corporate volunteering opportunities at the museum's sites in London and the Midlands. Thomas Maynard, Director of Global Corporate Sales at Virgin Atlantic, commented on the collaboration. The US is Virgin Atlantic's heartland, so we're delighted to support the RAF Museum as its official airline partner, flying guests across the Atlantic in style. Our mission is to inspire everyone to take on the world, and our partnership will further enable the RAF Museum to educate guests about the RAF's incredible history and its role in the fascinating world of aviation. This exciting partnership promises to enhance the RAF Museum's international engagement and further the preservation of aviation history, reinforcing the legacy of the Royal Air Force on both sides of the Atlantic. There we go. I've never been to this museum.
No, I just had to look that up, Andy, because I've never been there, and I didn't realise where it was. It's literally just on the outside of London as you head up towards Watford. As you come around the M25 and out toward Watford, it's kind of in between the outer ring of London and Watford. Watford.
Yeah, is it Hendon? Is that where it is?
Let me go back to the site again. So I'm looking at the Spitfire experiences they've got there. It's Hendon, yeah.
Yeah. Cool. I know Captain Nick has been here several times. I think he hosted a get-together there at some point.
Yeah,
it sounds like amazing. Really I feel a road trip coming on.
I'll tell you what they have got here. I just looked on their website. They actually do not a flight, but you can actually, for 25 quid, you can get 10 minutes and sit inside an actual Spitfire.
Okay.
Actually get in on and sit in the the cockpit of a Spitfire, an actual functioning Spitfire, for 25 quid, which is better than $2,500 for a 20-minute flight.
Yeah, but what an experience, though, eh?
Don't get me wrong. I would happily raid the joint account and
wow.
The problem is I wouldn't want to just sit in and as a passenger on Spitfire. I'd want to fly it.
Yeah, no, I bet.
Yeah,
I bet.
Especially for $2,500, I'd want to fly it.
Yeah, true.
I like all the pictures of the guys cleaning the suspended aircraft. That looks like quite a fun job.
It looks a bit terrifying for somebody who's not a big fan of heights. This one in particular, as I say, you've got aircraft here at jaunty angles, shall we say? Yeah. And there he is with his broom, busy dusting away. Quite.
And it's worth pointing out as well. I've just seen on the website, the Royal Air Force Museum, London. It costs nothing to get in.
Oh wow, that is good. That is good.
Yeah, free admission. You can book your visit online, book an arrival time, and go there for free.
It's free to get in, but it's it's like £25 for a coffee. That's all right.
Yeah, they never list the prices, the CAF prices on the website.
No, funnily enough, mind you, you pay quite a lot of money to get into Duxford these days, and their coffee ain't cheap either.
No, I'm just reading on the website to see it, because there's a lot of people asking on there whether it's within the conjecture, the emissions, ULEZ zone and stuff there, which I think I've got a feeling it is actually. So,
okay.
But, I think that's one to.
But then if it hasn't cost you to go in, then you can spend your £12 on that instead.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But no, it looks like a good one. I'm gonna have to put that on the list of places that I need to go to. Right, caption this time, just for fun, our picture that we plug on our social medias for you to give your funniest comments on this week's picture. I think we'll get Andy to explain this, being it's an aircraft he's all too familiar with. So, Andy, what are we looking at here?
We are looking at an Airbus A320 that has seen better days. It has no landing gear. It's lying on its belly, engineless. It looks like somebody who's had an entire weekend on the drink and how they'd feel afterwards, really. Broken and in pieces.
Yes, but enough about your weekend, eh?
Right, kicking off with Kevin William Lerman, who says, I guess nobody wanted to pay the extra fee for landing gear use or the engine upgrade package.
Well, I like the next one from Mark Heffer. When you said 35% off, I thought you meant the price.
John Falk is saying BAE announced new Harrier variant with the first aircraft to be delivered to the Royal Flight to be located at Buckingham Palace.
God, imagine that, a VTOL A320, Andy.
Oh, that would be
Oh,
cool.
no, thanks.
Okay.
Darren Smith stole my thunder a little bit here and said, never park your Airbus at Liverpool Airport overnight.
Oh.
They always steal your wheels.
Rude. Richard King says, new waste management policy. Leave it on the curb for the scrap man.
And the next one from our very own Nick Codling. Upon returning to his aircraft at Liverpool, Captain Andy wished he'd fitted the locking wheel nuts.
David Kavanagh saying one very grounded plane.
Got a good one here from Chris Dobson. You're only supposed to blow the bloody doors off.
Well, yes, quite.
Name the film. Name the film.
Well, The Italian Job.
Oh,
Obviously.
There's something about the lighting on that, though, because it does look like it's levitating from where...
it does look like it's levitating. Our local listener, Mazoos. Oh, this is great. I love this, Mazoos. Well done. Flintstones Airways, ready for business. Like that.
Steve Tyus, Captain's PA. Ladies and gentlemen, in order to maintain his floatplane endorsement, our first officer must complete a certain number of water landings. Therefore, you may find today's touchdown a little unusual. Feel free to assume the brace position. Thank you.
That's done by somebody who's done a cabin announcement before, I suspect. Bill has got in touch. He says, very simply, meanwhile, in Carlos's garden...
Don't give me ideas, Bill.
Indeed.
But the last one is from Phil Juffs, and we need to add a bit of context to this one, but he says simply, you could fly a Buccaneer under that. However, so reference to that, there was an incident on the 5th of April 1968 when a Royal Air Force Hawker Hunter pilot performed an unauthorised low flying over several London landmarks and flew through the span of Tower Bridge on the River Thames.
Yeah, true story. Yeah, true story.
Ooh.
Yeah, there's some good photos of that somewhere, isn't there?
Yeah, but thank you for your comments. I'm going to have a quick look in the chat room, see what everyone... I like that one. I'm going to pop that one up on the screen. Here we go. There we go, from Props Guy.
Props Guy is saying, looks like it has been Back to the Future and had a hover conversion. Yes, indeed.
Oh, good.
Oh dear, never mind. Richard Adams is saying, paint stripped, waiting for Ryan repaint. They don't need the wheels. Got always breaking. Sorry. Reese Newton is saying, I bet they landed so hard the gear snapped. Right.
I love this one from Richard Adams.
Richard Adams again, awaiting the low loader to Bungie. Yes, very good point. Yes,
that's your new studio sorted.
That is the new studio sorted. Dirk says at least it doesn't need a tow bar, throwing back to the previous story.
Yeah. And lastly, from Hobby Time.
Hey, Carlos, that makes a good PT UK studio.
It does.
Right, okay. Once again, good luck getting that past the wife. Also, to be fair, good luck getting it down your driveway between the walls and the fence. And the...
I'll tell you what, if I knocked down the garage,
right,
I reckon I could get
I'll bring the angle grind around it, it'll be fine. We'll have those wings off in no time.
Right, okay. Yeah.
You gentlemen, listen to yourself and what you're saying.
That's all right, because the wife's not here at the moment. I can say whatever I like.
Right, okay. Yes, it's all right. You're aware this is recorded, right?
Yeah, I am, yeah.
Better things to do with their time than listen back to this rubbish.
Good point, yeah. Well made, yeah.
Anyway,
absolutely, yeah.
Nick, you are organising a little meet-up soon, aren't you?
Yeah, I mean, possibly it's not necessarily an officially sanctioned PT UK event. However, this weekend, my son and I are going to pop up to Heathrow and do a bit of plane spotting. So we don't have a kind of firm time. It'll probably depend a lot on things like the traffic and the vagaries of the M25. I would say, roughly speaking, we will be there between 1 and 3 on probably Saturday, but maybe also Sunday as well. Now, depending on the landing direction, it'll either be Myrtle Avenue or the Mound, as it's known at T5. So yeah, if any of you are interested in coming along and saying hi, well, I mean, you know what I look like if you watch us on YouTube. I might have a PTUK sweatshirt on, and yeah. But if you do want to come along and say hi, you could always drop us an email.
I'm just looking on for this Saturday's weather, Nick. So you said Saturday or Sunday you might go?
Possibly both. I think it's probably going to be okay. Maybe a little bit overcast, but should be all right, I think.
Actually, periods of sunshine, slight cloud, 17 degrees Celsius,
dry.
that'll
do very nicely.
No, right. It's 2% chance of rain.
Brilliant. We'll take that.
So, yeah, good day for it, Saturday. Definitely Saturday.
But, yeah, if anyone fancies it, drop us an email.
And also, we want people to drop us emails as well about other things, don't we? With feedback. Andy, come on. Beg the listeners for some feedback, Andy.
Yes, we do. This is, I haven't been off a few weeks, but this is my weekly threat. They let a northerner on this programme, me, who's barely audible and understandable. You guys out there can do a fine, better job than me, and we would love to hear from you. If you want to send in your emails and we'll read them out, feel free. Get really brave, record some audio, or even send us in your videos. We'd love to hear it, see it, and read it.
There we go. And if you want to send us some feedback in, you can find us on social medias, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Just search for Plain Talking UK. Email address is podcast@plaintalkinguk.com. The website is allthews.plaintalkinguk.com, where you can find out more about us, the team, and you can also find the shop on there, where you can purchase yourself a P2UK t-shirt and mugs. Yes, military grey mug or a standard P2UK mug as well on there. You can also find links to Patreon and PayPal if you want to become a supporter of the show. We'd appreciate that very much indeed as well. And that's where you can find out more about us and send us your feedback. We'd love to hear from you. So, quick round robin before we finish the show then. Start off with you, Andy. What's on the cards for Andy next week?
Not a lot. I am home all week. I will be here next week as well.
Woohoo!
Oh, awesome.
And then the week after next, I am extremely busy for 2 weeks, so I'll be gone again. But yes, I'll definitely be here next week.
Good. I'm glad to hear you'll be here next week. Nick, what's going on in the world of two-wheeled items?
Oh, probably not very much of that, but lots of cooing at aircraft at Heathrow, hopefully.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Indeed. Yeah.
And Mr. Smith, are you going to visitate me for dinner possibly next week?
Hopefully, yeah. If it stops raining long enough, then yes, absolutely. There's every chance of that. And busy weekend of presenter training this weekend.
Sounds like fun. Well, I shall join up with you on Saturday morning, as we always do, for our little handover.
Indeed, absolutely. Good to have you back. Good to have you back on the radio, definitely.
Good to be back. It's good to be back. And this weekend, I shall be mostly, I shall be on the radio, and I shall be doing some more work on the studio out in the garage. And then Sunday morning, I shall be woken up at some ridiculously early hour to say goodbye to Gemma while she heads off to the glorious London Norwich City Airport to catch her flight to Prague.
Lovely, lovely. Well, the good news is once you've dropped her off at Norwich and all that kind of.
I ain't got to drop her off.
Oh, haven't you?
I've just got to wake up and go bye.
Oh, okay. How's she getting to Norwich then?
Oh, she's got a lift. She's got one of her.
All right.
Her many lifts there. I've got to go and pick them up the following Sunday.
Okay, right.
So.
I was thinking more kitten time. Essentially, that's what.
Oh yes, me and the boys are going to have a whale of the time. Yeah. In fact, I could purchase more aviation themed memorabilia.
Oh wow!
And
here we
blame it on the boys.
Right. Yeah. Because sure.
Can I just make a point that when I looked on the kitten cams this afternoon whilst I was at work, they had somehow managed to turn up the volume on the Alexa.
What?
Yeah.
I don't believe that.
Honestly, Park Radio was blaring out in the front room. I had to go on my phone app and turn it down. I thought the poor boys would be deafened by the
How
sound.
did they manage to turn it up?
Well,
Climbing
all
over
I could
it
think
or
is
something?
climbing over, and obviously one of them had put their paws on top of the volume buttons on top and turned it up.
Well,
So
well, maybe they wanted to. Maybe that's why they were enjoying the song. They wanted it to be louder. Yeah.
yes, possibly. Their Uncle Matt wasn't on, you see. I'd protect him, I think.
absolutely.
So.
Presumably, it was a bit of Kenny Loggins.
Possibly.
Yeah,
yes, absolutely. Yeah. Anyway, can I go to bed yet, please?
Right, okay, that's it. Thanks, everyone, for tuning in. Thanks to the chat room. Lovely to see you all again this week. And thanks to everyone who downloads the show as an audio podcast. We love to bring the show to you every week, as we do on a Wednesday night here, 7 o'clock. So we'll see you next Wednesday for another fun-packed show. So from me, Carlos, here in the home studios, from Matt in the PTUK Master Suite studios, from Andy in the pub studio, and from Nick in his home studio in glorious sunny Devon. Have a great rest of the week and weekend. And say goodbye, Andy.
Goodbye.
There we are, done. It is in the bag.
In the bag.
Very good.
Crikey, that means I've got to do another one now.
It does, yes, that's it. Yes, hours and hours of hard work, all munched in 2 hours, gone.
Yes, it's all nice when it all kind of goes quite well, but then it's like, oh God, I've got to do it
again. All over again. Absolutely. We are very
Send in some feedback, please. Send me stories. We
are very grateful, sir.
Could you send in 2 hours of feedback?
Yeah, that'd be great.
2 hours of feedback, blimey.
Could have a week off then.
Gosh, absolutely. Sounds like fun.
I think I need to renegotiate my PTUK salary.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, man, join the queue.
Is that HR email again?
Yeah.
Did I say I'd made Matt head of HR?
Since when? I remember refusing the role.
Is it because the money was rubbish?
Yeah, very much so. Very disappointing. Yeah, absolutely. No Toblerones or anything. It was disastrous.
How vile.
God, I could murder a chocolate bar right now.
Absolutely, yeah. There's a whole box of it. You know, it's
I know for a fact that there are no chocolate bars in this house. Oh, hold on. No, there is. There's a bar of Swiss chocolate that we brought back from Geneva.
Right.
But I know if I go anywhere near that,
right,
it would be worse than me buying an aircraft part.
Oh wow, okay.
There we go, Carlos.
Yeah.
Just for you.
Oh, Nick.
And on that bombshell, somebody needs to say goodnight.
It's actually a blooming Toblerone.
Yeah.
Well, what did you think it was in a box labelled
I thought
Toblerone?
it superimposed it on the screen. I didn't realise it was a real one.
Oh, yeah, it's the real
one.
deal.
Yeah. Did you not watch him pick it up and move it to buy the curtain?
No, I missed that bit.
Yeah.
Oh, now I really am craving chocolate.
Wow, okay.
That's all right. I'll email you some.
Lovely.
You're welcome.
Anyway, right, that is it, guys and girls. Matt needs to go to bed. Beddy buys.
He does.
So we're going to leave Andy to say goodbye to everyone this week. Last words to you, Andy.
I hope you all have a pleasant rest of the week, a lovely weekend, and we will see you all next Wednesday. Goodbye.